Makakapanayam din po natin ang Administrator at Chairperson ng Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, si Attorney Wilma Eisma. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, ma'am.
Magandang umaga po, Secretary Andanar. Maraming pong salamat sa pagkakataon na makapanayam namin kayo ngayong umaga.
It's good to see you once again, Attorney Wilma. Now that SBMA also shifted to MECQ bilang pagsunod po sa quarantine status ng Bataan at Pampanga, ano po ba ang mga protocol na mahigpit na ipinatutupad ng SBMA in compliance po dito sa IATF guidelines, especially para sa mga makikidaan sa Subic Bay Freeport?
From the very start, Secretary, the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority has implemented very strict quarantine measures in access and within the Subic Bay Freeport itself. Now that we are an MECQ, the basic rule is that, as provided for by the IATF, only those who will need to go to work, who will need access to food, medicines, and essential services, including emergencies, should be able to go in and out of the Freeport and have access within the Freeport. So ulitin ko po, work, food, medicines, emergencies, and essential services. So ibig po sabihin, as you already know, as provided for by the IATF, there are certain companies and corporations and factories that are open up to certain percentages. They will allow workers, yun lamang po ang pwedeng pumasok. Of course, we also allow military personnel and PMPs because that is also provided for by their work. Are also allowed under essential services, food and emergency would be provision of relief goods and donations because it is very much necessary at this time. As you can see in the pictures, you could see several cargo trucks coming in. This is again provided for under the IATF rules. Wherein unhampered delivery of services and cargo ay kailangan makadaan ng mabilis. So again, while we are very strict in the implementation, that non-essentials are not allowed, we do ensure that yung mga kailangan na nasa labas ay maayos na nakakalabas-pasok dito po sa amin sa Subic Bay Freeport.
Ano po ba ang tamang proseso during these kinds of situation? Halimbawa na lamang may nais makidaan sa Subic Bay Freeport. Do they have to call or write an intent letter in advance o automatic na po bang papayagan ito as long as para sa relief operations?
For relief operations, sir, honestly, it will really be very easy. Kapag tinignan ng sasakyan mo and it's obvious na may relief operations, I really don't mind. Marami na pong pagkakataon na walang prior coordination at sumipot po sa ating gate. Nakita natin na may relief operations. Usually po yan may coordination sa kabilang side. So my people will pick up the phone on the other side, the recipient. And when the recipient confirms that they are expecting these donations, wala pong problema. Kung talaga pong relief operations, any prior coordination is not even necessary. Sapagkat nakikita mo naman po na meron talagang relief goods. Mas maganda din po na may prior coordination para po mas mapadali. But it's really not necessary as long as my people can really appreciate na meron pong relief goods.
Governor Fernando po clarified that he intended to pass through Tipo Gate to give relief to a relative and not to visit his resort in Bataan. Ito po ba'y valid reason para payagang makadaan sa Subic Bay Freeport under the guidelines po?
There has been a lot of discussions in the whole Governor Fernando issue. But I would like to just lay down the premise first. When this happened in May 8, we are in enhanced community quarantine. The rules then are very different. Ang rule po noon, nobody should be out in the streets. Makakalabas ka lang kung bibili ka ng pagkain, bibili ka ng gamot, essential service, or may emergency. Nung dumating po si Governor Fernando sa gate ko, ang security ko po, hindi siya pinapasok. Sapagkat sabi po niya may relief, magdadala siya ng relief. Ngunit nung tinignan po ng security namin ang kanyang sasakyan, he was in a 3-vehicle convoy, and upon inspection, there's no relief goods. There's just people. So that's when the problem started. And then an intermediary passed through another staff of mine asking for the same. And I actually gave permission and said, if it's relief, then that's not a problem. Go ahead and let him pass. So at that point, when I gave the permission, my security at the gate gave me a call and said, Chairman, how can you give permission when there's no relief good at the gate, at the vehicle? So that's when the problem started. So it is at that point that Governor Fernando changed his story and said, I am going to send cash to the people in Morong, which, by the way, is not his constituency. And then there's another conflicting version from the intermediary that said, mamamasyal siya sa Morong. So this is when the issue starts. And I will now publicly apologize again to Governor Fernando for not having let him in. But if I can go back in time, I will not change my decision, because my job is to protect the Subic Bay Freeport. It is now day 72, and I have not had any COVID case since all this started here in my jurisdiction. And I would like to credit that to the strict implementation of the enhanced community quarantine. And sana lamang po maintindihan, hindi lamang po ni Governor Fernando, kundi ng mga nakikinig at ng mga iba pang gustong dumaan. Sana po maintindihan lamang nila na ginagawa lamang po namin ang aming mga trabaho. At ito rin po ay pagpoprotect sa kalusugan nila at kalusugan namin, kalusugan ng lahat. Because let us not lose of sight of the goal. The goal here is to keep everybody COVID-free, not just Subic. And we can do that by not touching each other, by not being close to each other, by protecting each other, and be mindful that we will be contaminated by close interaction. And we have to be mindful of the movements from one zone to another. And so yun po yung scenario why the whole Governor Fernando issue. That's why I do appreciate your previous question. There is really no difficulty to pass through Subic for purposes of relief, for purposes of emergency, for purposes of food, delivery of cargo. There's no difficulty at all. It is allowed. But what is not allowed is to pass through without any specific purpose. What is not allowed is to pass through just for convenience. What is not allowed is to pass through just because you think you are exempted. This is a difficult situation, and we are all here trying to protect each other. And we ask for forgiveness, and we ask for understanding that we all are trying to do our jobs the way we think they are right. And to be fair to Governor Fernando, the way he appreciated the IATF rules is that as a governor, he is exempted under the IATF rules to move around. Totoo naman po yun. Meron po talagang provision sa IATF rules na nakalagay that if you are a head of the local government unit or a head of agency, or like Secretary Andanar, he is exempted to move around. But like Secretary Andanar's jurisdiction is national kasi secretary siya. So if Secretary Andanar would need to go to outside Manila, then he is exempted and he can go. because that's his jurisdiction. Being a secretary, his jurisdiction is national. Ako po, as a head of the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, I am only exempted to move within SBMA. In fact po, a few days before that incident, I tried to go to Dinalupihan, Bataan. And I was asking permission, and I was denied at the checkpoint. And I did not argue about it because I know that was pushing it. That was not my jurisdiction. I was not exempted to go to Dinalupihan. I'm only exempted in Subic. So, ang interpretation ko po ng exemption is only within the jurisdiction. So, ang naging problema po namin ni Governor Fernando is the difference in interpretation. He felt that he is exempted to move all over the country. But my interpretation is he is only exempted. He is only exempted in Bulacan and not in Subic. Again, I apologize to him. But then, again, ulitin man natin ang oras, hindi ko pa rin po siya papapasukin sapagkat kailangan ko pong protektahan ang aking sinasakupan at sumusunod din po ako sa IATF, and kung kailangan po akong parusahan ng IATF sa hindi ko pagsunod, I am more than willing to face those consequences.
Attorney Eisma, ma'am, you requested to extend the ECQ over SBMA. Kumusta po ba ang capability ng SBMA sa pagresponde sa mga possible COVID-19 positives? Are you fully equipped kung sakaling magkaroon po ng COVID-19 infection sa loob po mismo ng Subic community?
Secretary, one of the reasons why I am trying to get an extension is that I am trying to buy time. Right now, I only have a level 1 hospital. Because, sir, sorry if I step back, I am not a local government unit. So I actually don't have a hospital under my jurisdiction. There is a private hospital, which is level 1, that is not even allowed to handle COVID patients. I already secured an exemption from the DOH. So they have 8 ICU beds and 13 private rooms. So can you imagine the lack of capacity to do that? Since the first week of the quarantine, I have started constructing an isolation facility. Meron na po tayong close to 80 beds na isolation facility. Ngayon din po, I have since partnered with the Philippine Red Cross for a molecular laboratory for PRC testing right here in Subic. So I'm trying to buy time to get this all done. And I'm hoping that by the time that I go to GCQ or even a modified GCQ, I will have these facilities ready just in case we will have some more cases that we already have right now. Ulitin ko lang po, this is now day 72. I have not had one case. Not one case have been found right here in the Subic Bay Freeport. 2 days ago po, nagpa-test po ako ng rapid testing for 910 frontliners, employees of the Subic Bay Freeport, Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority frontliners. 0 po ang findings po namin. A few days ago po, I think it was a Saturday, one locator tested 1,316 of their employees. Ito pong employees na to, lahat dito nakatira sa loob ng buong Subic Bay Freeport, and 0 din po ang findings. So I am very happy to note that yung pong pagka-stricto namin is a reflection. Doon ho nagre-reflect ito dun sa cases, 0 cases. So effective ang restriction. So I'm hoping by the time that we open, we will be ready with the isolation facility, with the testing center that we have in partnership with the Philippine Red Cross. Napilitan po akong magpa-rapid test sapagkat medyo natatagalan po ang DOH certification ng aming facilities. Hindi ko rin naman po pwedeng hintayin or hindi ko naman po pwedeng nakanganga na lang ako dito para sa mga empleyado ko na sumasagasa araw-araw sa panganib ng COVID. So minabuti ko pong ipa-rapid test sila nung isang araw. Ang status po ngayon ng aking isolation facility, I am waiting for the DOH to accredit the tie-up ng aking isolation facility with the level 1 hospital. Kasi po ang requirement po ng DOH is level 2. Level 1 lamang po ang aking hospital dito. So humihingi po ako kung pwede nilang i-exempt itong level 1 hospital na ito para magpatakbo ng aking isolation facility. Yun pong isolation facility ko mismo, inaccept na nila, nag-meet na ng standard nila. Yun lamang pong pagpapatakbo nito. Nagpalagay na rin po ako ng budget, meron na po akong pera para pang-hire ng doktor, pang-hire ng nurses. Yun na lamang pong approval ng DOH for the partnership with the level 1 hospital. Yun naman pong PRC laboratory, may kasunduan na po kami ng Philippine Red Cross with the support of Senator Richard Gordon. Ang hinihintay na lang po namin ulit is the DOH certification. Nakadalawang punta na po ang DOH dito, tinignan ng laboratorio. Nagawa ko na rin po ang testing site. Ngayon po, nagtitraining na po ang 16 medtechs sa RITM sa Alabang. So, umaasa po ako na hopefully in the next 2 weeks, matapos na po ang molecular laboratory. So, kaya lang, again, ulitin ko po, kaya po ako nang hingi ng extension is I'm trying to buy time so that I can be ready once we open to GCQ or even modified GCQ. Ayoko pong, I don't want to be pulled under the rug and be surprised na magmadali ako ng GCQ just because my constituency wants it. Sa totoo lamang po, marami na pong umaaray, umiiyak ang mga businessmen, mga locators. Ngunit at kung pipilitin ko po at madidrain din naman po later on ang ating public health system at magkakaroon po ng massive public health fall down, mas mamabuti. I think naiintindihan din naman po nila na ang strategy ko po na i-ready po muna ang kapasidad para kapasidad ng Subic Bay Freeport to meet or to be ready with COVID patients before we open the Subic Bay Freeport to GCQ or modified GCQ.
Okay, maraming salamat po sa papaunlak ng panayam, SBMA Administrator and Chairperson Attorney Wilma Eisma. Ingat po kayo.
Maraming pong salamat. I hope everybody keep safe and keep healthy.